So if you grew up in South Africa, you would remember payphones. Now they are museum pieces. In their place, fiber boxes on pavements, Wi-Fi signs in coffee shops, and almost everyone from school kids to pensioners are on a smartphone. Our latest census data shows over 92% of households now have a cell phone, while home landlines have collapsed into near irrelevance. I mean, internet access has more than doubled in the past decade. And so this shift didn't happen slowly, it happened right in front of us. And the momentum is building. After government scrapped that 9% levy on entry-level smartphones last year, first-time smartphone purchases jumped sharply. I mean, retailers like Pepkor now reportedly sell 13.5 million handsets per year, with smartphones making up 65% of sales. Nationally, smartphone subscriptions have surged past 82 million. And in the past 2 decades, South Africa has moved from shared landlines and these prepaid airtime vouchers to a country that banks, studies, applies for jobs, and runs businesses through a device in its pocket. Now look at Telkom's latest results and the signs are on the wall. The company just reported a 13% jump in mobile data revenue, with active mobile data subscribers up to nearly 20 million, meaning that more than 3/4 of its customers are active data users. And so as a result, data now contributes 60% of its total revenue. The real engine isn't airtime anymore, it's gigabytes. And so that's the quiet transformation here. For millions of South Africans, a smartphone is now the bank branch, the job center, the classroom, and the social circle. Data isn't just entertainment, it's economic infrastructure. It keeps payments flowing, businesses running, and opportunities accessible. And so Telkom's numbers don't just show growth, they show how central data has become. And in a country this connected, there is real upside for whoever keeps the system affordable and reliable. The Proteas are through to the Super 8s, essentially the playoffs of the Cricket World Cup. But now is when the tournament really starts. You see South Africa beat New Zealand in style and then edged Afghanistan in a match that raised my baseline heart rate indefinitely. Now they face the UAE on Wednesday in a game that won't actually change qualification, before the real headline clash on Sunday against India. And that's where the tension sits. You see, the tournament's in India, the hosts are unbeaten, and when South Africa toured India in December for a T20 series, they won just 1 of 4 matches. Furthermore, they lost the warm-up match to them before this tournament began, and so on paper, not ideal. But this Proteas side looks different. You see, the batting unit is firing. Aiden Markram has been aggressive and controlled at the same time. De Kock is a national treasure, and David Miller hasn't even been dismissed yet. Even our bowlers, though, are rising to the occasion. Marco Jansen just produced career-best T20 figures, and Ngidi is having big moments too. And so the question isn't whether South Africa can compete, it's whether they can do it in a stadium with 130,000 Indian fans, reminding them whose backyard they're in. Most South Africans don't think about the prime lending rate until their bond repayment jumps. You see, that number quietly determines what you pay on your home loan, car finance, and many credit cards. And now, after decades of using it, the Reserve Bank is about to scrap the name altogether. So firstly, for a bit of context, think of it like this. Simply put, when banks need money to lend out for home loans and car finance, they don't just dip into a giant pile of cash. They often borrow from the South African Reserve Bank, and they pay interest on that borrowing. Now, that interest rate is called the repo rate. And so when banks then lend money to you, they charge more interest than what they paid because, they need to cover their risks and make a profit. And so for years, that higher interest benchmark has been called the prime rate, which in practice has simply been the repo rate plus an extra 3.5%. So what's set to change? Well, not your repayment tomorrow. You see, under the Reserve Bank's proposal, banks would stop using the word prime and start quoting loans directly as repo rate plus a margin, making it clear exactly how much they are adding on top of their own borrowing costs. And so, no, the price of money would stay the same, but the way it's presented would be far more simpler and more transparent. And before we cruise on to our Bagel Bite of the day, here's a couple other headlines worth knowing. For starters, UNISA's latest annual report flags a sharp rise in AI misuse during assignments and exams, with colleges battling plagiarism backlogs. Now, a compulsory academic integrity course has now been introduced to address the growing misconduct. Woolworths is piloting its first self-service checkout at its foreshore store in Cape Town, testing a single express till to assess customer experience and operational impact. Now, the retailer says that no jobs will be cut, with staff set to be upskilled or redeployed if rollout proceeds. And President Ramaphosa says that more than 50 billion rand in data center investments is expected in South Africa over the next 3 years, adding to 55 facilities already built. Now, the push forms part of a broader digital infrastructure drive linked to cloud computing and AI growth. And just a quick side note, if y'all enjoying the show, please can I ask that you like and subscribe. It's the only way we grow. Oh, and you can also join our awesome community, the Bagel Community Broadcast channel on Instagram or on YouTube under the post tab. That's where we share behind the scenes stuff, trivias, and sometimes ask for your input on the show. And so if you'd like to help shape the show and the news that we cover, that's the place to do it. Get involved. And on to our Bagel Bite of the day. Let's see what you got. The question is, which country has the most UNESCO World Heritage Sites? Is it A, Israel, B, Italy, or C, Egypt? Bonus points if you know how many South Africa has. You know, many of us right now just feel lost. You know, some of us can't afford university. Some of us are on jobs we don't exactly love. Others genuinely don't know what they're good at or what they should try next. And so it's that nauseating feeling of like, I'm just not sure this is it. And for me, I've realized something, that clarity doesn't usually arrive like a lightning bolt. It builds as you expose yourself to different subjects, as you learn, test ideas, and notice what actually holds your attention. And so that's where these online courses come in. You know, some of the biggest universities in the world, including Harvard, Stanford, even UCT and UJ, offer courses online through platforms like Coursera, edX, and Allison. And in many cases, you can complete the content for free and only pay if you want the certificate. And so these courses aren't about becoming an expert overnight. For some people, they're a way to figure out what actually interests them. For others, it's a way to improve in the job that they already have, you know, to move from entry level to competent, or from competent to valuable. And because many of them cost nothing to start, what do you have to lose by giving one a try? And as for that Bagel Bite, Italy takes it with around 61 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, make it the most historically stacked country on the planet. South Africa stands with 12 of its own, from Robben Island to the cradle of humankind. And my friends, that's it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, this is just your reminder to join those community channels if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day further. Be kind to one another, and we'll catch you all tomorrow for the next round of the good stuff. God bless.